All right, so we're talking about what kind of content will you disseminate, and that's a very important aspect of discovering what type of show you're going to have. Some people just love doing interviews, and some people love doing the DJ thing where they play their favorite music and perhaps some requests of things of that nature. Other people like to do commentary. Whether it be statistical, informational, psychological, as in my case, a lot of my content is very, very psychosocial and things of that nature. Some people like to do economics and scientific, problem solving, world issues, entertainment, on and on and on. So you have to decide, because when you decide what kind of content you're going to generate and disseminate, it helps to narrow the target audience. Now, for SIBN television and radio networks, we wanted to reach the younger kids, the young adults, under 35. But our bracket is 35 and over. And, really pretty much that shows that, by the end 35, you're a little bit settled and you're wrestling with issues that seem to be persistent. You have more responsibility, so we learned a lot ourselves about our dissemination of content and information, digital content, I should say, through trial and error. At first, we wanted to reach the young crowd, and we were reaching a young crowd musically. Our analytics on Facebook, by the way, you can get your analytics on Facebook and download them. And if you want to know more information about that, you have to ask me specifically. Or any one of the platforms that you use in today's vernacular have analytics that are downloadable that give you some clue as to what your demographics are regarding your listening audience. But the point that I want to make is this. It's very important to decide up front. So if you decide, for instance, you're going to disseminate X, Y, and Z, and you're going to target X, Y, and Z audience, and you write this down in your plan, and then you go back in 90 days and find out that your analytics are absolutely deplorable, then you want to change what you're doing to meet the analytics that will be revealed in the digital database. For instance, let's say you want to target, 18 through 25, just kind of pick a group there. And you go back and check your analytics. Of course, you should do it, if you're starting out, you should do it monthly. But let's say at the end of the first quarter of your show, you find out that you're reaching ages 35 and under, or 45 and over, 35 and over, or 45 and over. Then that means that you have content more for mature audience. Not to say that anybody under 35 is not mature. Please don't take that the wrong way. But mature in the fact that you have more responsibilities, you have more medical concerns, mature in that you pay more taxes, you may be earning more money, you may be taking care of loved ones, things of that kind of mature, not, grown up mature. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So you want to at least write down what your target demographic is, and then double back after the first quarter to say, okay, I see that more people are listening in this category, and so I'm going to play toward the audience that my content reaches rather than insist on trying to reach a target audience that my content does not reach. Okay? I hope that made a lot of sense. So we talked a little bit about preparation and how you disseminate your information, or what style you have in retaining information, whether you have to have notes in front of you, whether or not you have to have scripts, whether or not you have to have, you could even have a teleprompter or a monitor with scrolling information, or note cards, as in my case, because I have a million thoughts about a million things. so I have to write my thoughts down. Or maybe you're so good that you can go off the cuff. Now, generally, I go off the cuff because I'm highly intelligent. I don't mind saying that. I know what my weakness is, though. So I don't give myself a compliment without giving myself a criticism. That's something you could take note in. I don't give myself a compliment without giving myself also a criticism. And so my compliment is that I can think levels deep, but my weakness is that I miss simple things. And so I have someone helping me with the simple things, and together we are making great progress. All right, so you have to know what kind of thinker you are and who's on your team. Let me say a little bit about team building. I have found that to be a broadcaster and to build analytical data, and analytical data simply is, in my layman's terms, is data that is always entered with every show. From the show's title to the description to the tag words to the chats, the live chat about the show, to the social media chat and posting to invite people to come to the show and listen or watch. I have found that when I started, now I need to go to scripts now because I have so much content that I have to manage, that it would help me to have things in format now that I have built a template for show production and beyond. But what I wanted to say to you is that it helps now to know how you roll out. When I first started doing this, I knew from my background of working with kids and youth that I had to be spontaneous and be able to solve problems as I moved about, because I broadcast live. But I was going to say a bit about team building. In the broadcasting business and in the analytical building business, you don't want someone on your team who is not going to be consistent. If they're going to come and be on your team, they can be an apprentice or they can be a guest. They can make a special appearance. But you don't want to put somebody on your microphone who is not consistent, who is not eloquent to the degree that they can say what they mean and mean what they say. Now, you got a lot of shows out there where they get to, cussing folks out and playing vulgarity, and I don't know if that's the kind of show that you're going to do, but I don't think that you would be listening to me if that's the kind of show that you're going to do, because you never know who's listening to you. You never know who may be interested in what you're doing. I had a gentleman walk up to me who works for a very big radio station. I did not know this person. And say to me, I've been watching you for 2 years, and you are around the world. And I said, well, what are you talking about? How do you know? And he mentioned the show that I had started, which was my first show, and the analytics from that show, because we logged 1,000 of those shows in less than a year and a few months. 1,000 shows. The analytical data was off the charts. We did not stop. I'm telling you, it was crazy, And then the guy said, man, keep doing what you're doing. And he says, the Lord is going to bless you. He's going to bless you. And so one of the things that I want to encourage you to do is don't put anybody on your microphone or in a key position meaning, engineer, DJing, even monitoring, because, in every studio there has to be a monitor, somebody who says, okay, the sound is good. It might be a sound monitor, maybe a floor monitor. But whoever is in your camp and on your team has to know that, hey, if we're gonna roll out once a month, it's better to do a show once a month than to do, to me, now just to me, than to do a show once a week and miss 3 weeks. One of the things that I hear a lot of people say, well, I haven't been here in a while, and so I'm back. But, you know, I don't know about that. You know, I'll just say it that way. I don't know about that, because if you're a broadcaster, because once you start your internet show, you're operating and functioning as a broadcaster. You're operating and also functioning as a producer. And, you know, you want to give a great impression so that the content that you deliver will be absorbed. And so if you have a haphazard, you know, you can get on there and do haphazard stuff too, but we're talking about a show. And a show means it's going to reoccur. You're going to have multiple episodes. You want feedback, you want participation, and maybe even have it sponsored and have advertisement on your show. You know, so it's very important when you're building your team not to put key people in key positions that have not proven to be faithful over small things, if you will. So today is just an introduction to how to start and launch your radio show. And these things also can be used on how to improve your radio show. There's always the high technical end, right? And I will be bringing you some terms and some definitions and things of that nature, so that we can just have fun. And, you know, I do a lot of other shows, and, you know, I don't get a chance to really share what I've learned in the business, but also we'll share, you know, some things that you shouldn't do and things that you should do. I mean, I've been on the air when I'm sick and when I'm not, when I'm up and I'm down, when I'm well to do in my pocket and when my pocket ain't looking so well, you know. I've even been on the show when I've traveled. One time I broadcast straight from my car. You know, I think I was on I-75 or something, and I broadcast straight from my car. I mean, we'll talk more about, you know, the mobility of your broadcast. Now, some of you, as I come toward a close, are familiar with Blog Talk Radio. And I'm on Blog Talk Radio now, but I don't particularly like the Blog Talk Radio format as a standalone for what I do. But if that's your thing, and like I said, I'm on there, we can talk about that if you ask me some specific questions, general questions about Blog Talk Radio. It's a great platform for interviewing people who are not local to you. You have your Ustreams, you have your live streams. But I want to tell you about, hopefully next show, I'm a firm believer that if you're going to have a radio show, try to reduce your costs and test the market. Not only test the market for your material, but test the market on the capabilities of the technologies that you understand, the platforms that you understand. And I'm going to tell you this, Google Plus got something going. And hopefully the next time I share on this show, which is on Mondays at 7 o'clock, I'll be able to share with you a little bit more, because I get excited. Now I'll get off track. I'll have to write some notes on that, because I get real excited about the possibilities of what Google Plus. You can have a show worldwide on the Google Plus platform and be worldwide. And I can show you how to do that. And if you're interested in doing a show, let me know that you're interested, because we might decide to pick your show up. You know, we're not any big wigs or anything, but we've been in the business a while. I think we do what we do well, and we'd love to have some company, you know. So let us know what it is that you do, so that we can celebrate you. All right. I trust that you've learned some things. My name is Marcus Salette, and this has been your SIBN technology news on how to start and prepare to launch your radio show. I'll see you next time, Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.